So this is Caprice. I am working on it's a marine biology diverter. And I worked on this when I was in environmental science class and environmental law class. I actually developed this. And we were doing a project to see how we could help the environment and save the marine life. So I came up with this plan, and I can't get to my original papers right now from school from 2011, but I recreated the project that I drew. It's a bad drawing. I'm actually a good artist, but I hurried up with it just to be able to show people what I've done, so I could present it to the president so we could see if he could do this, because this can be put at any waterway, any canal, any place in the United States where the algae is prevalent. Algae, the green algae that's been a problem in Florida, has been created by the runoff, as far as my knowledge from college, from environmental science class. It's the runoff from the pesticides that are in the ground. When it rains, it flows into the waterways and it turns everything green, and that's actually pollution. So it forms itself as overalgae, overabundance of algae, which is actually pollution, and it kills the marine life. In order to stop that, what I have designed here years ago in 2011, and this is just a quick drawing of it because I'm trying to get it out there fast. Okay, so here we have, if you go walking into your parks and say this is a riverbank, you'll put seating here, which would most likely be brick or stone seating. This is the back, this is the part where you sit. Up above are tubing. I designed for plexiglass tubing with epoxy. Each part has sections, okay? Now the fish, at some point, you go through a step-down pump station that is solar powered. Here, it won't use much solar power. But what it does is it provides for a chain to stop the fish a little bit and put a brief dam, and with a reactor, so that we have a vacuum where the fish actually, while they're flowing downstream, can get sucked into the tubing and flow for people to see through the tubing, which is nice if you want to create a park, area that's really nice for kids to see the fish. And that would be right above the seating. The rest would be the algae collector collecting algae at a pump station, so that we can turn that algae into fuel through the gases that are created in the pollution or the algae. And that's going to be another part that I have to do scientifically, but I'm going to present this to a college and see. So you see the fish flowing downstream. This does not have to be done all around the riverbank, but maybe in certain sections where we could stop the fish at the most narrow part of each waterway at a certain place where it flows, and use a step-down situation for the fish to be diverted with a very, very, very slight pump, collecting most of the fish at a certain point, and then releasing them back out so that we can go ahead and clean up the waterways. Okay, so this has been my design for quite a while. Since 2011. I'm going to put it out there now for President Trump to see it, so that maybe we can work on this. This would help to rid the waterways of overpollution created by the pesticides that are running off into the waterways with the rain and forming and bubbling up into the green algae that kills the marine life. So the marine life would be cleaned. The algae we're going to take and we're going to store through an algae collector, sort of like one of those robots that go along, like an algae eater fish. Because you don't want to clear out all the algae, because you still have to leave some algae for the plankton and the fish, the algae eaters. So you take a portion of it, and you take that and you collect it in a box here at the collection site, and you actually take that and turn it into a biofuel. We can actually make that into a fuel. So that is my creation. That is what I'm doing for now. This is just my idea, and it doesn't have to be put through the whole waterway, but maybe a section for people to go see. It would beautify things. Children would like to see the fish, like they're looking at a zoo or something, like they're at the zoo, and it would just make a nice time. and it would educate children on the why we have to have, clean the water and things like that. So that's my creation, and it's been my creation since 2011, and now I'm putting it out there. So if you can understand this, excuse my sloppy drawings and stuff, okay? It's, for now, just a prototype, very fast done, so I could get it out here to him. I'm gonna go ahead and redo it, much nicer, and then get it back out to him and present it to Nova University. Nova Southeastern had a problem recently, about 2 days ago, with an overabundance of algae where the animals were dying in the water, or the fish were dying, and it was the green type of algae, murky, and they said they didn't know what it was caused from. I actually studied what it was caused from. It's caused from fertilizers and pesticides that are running off into the waterways, because people need to fertilize their grasses and their plants. So when the rain comes, it washes all that in there, and then it makes an overabundance of algae. Well, we could take that algae and we could turn that into a fuel, because that algae contains gases, obviously. Okay, so that's my next video. Here's the pump station. That's a solar panel, small solar panel. This here is a chain that's operated by the mechanism or machinery or an engine that goes by the solar panel energy that opens and closes the dam, and that runs the reactor for the vacuum for the fish to be pulled in where the step down part is in the waterway, whether it be a canal or a riverbank or whatever. There has to be a point where the fish are sucked in somehow. Now, if ever one of these gets clogged, the design I've created for the clogging is, these are done in sections, okay? Epoxied so nothing leaks. At the time, if one of these sections gets clogged, all we would have to do is, of course, reopen this switch here, let the fish flow back again for a little while, the way they were. Let them flow down the riverbank or the waterway, and shut this off so that we can stop the water at both ends and take out the section, or just open up the section or the partition that needs to be cleaned. Okay, and I expect, of course, there to be, locks on these, but there's going to be a way that we can actually open them as well. So that is, I used to be a pipe layer, and so for my knowledge of pipe laying and shoring, I used to have to dig 30 feet down, literally dig with my hand manually, sometimes 10 feet down, excavating pipes. And from what I know about pipes, this is very, very possible. This can be done along our waterways to make it a nice visual type of zoo for children, while at the same time collecting through a pump, or vacuuming some of those fish. Very light vacuum. You don't want to hit the fish. You don't want to hurt the fish and the wildlife, but you bring them through this just for about, I don't know, about a block or so that we can go ahead and clean up every waterway. It would be a project to invest in. However, this particular project to invest in, with the tubing, the plexiglass tubing and the little pump that's solar powered and the little dam here, to be able, and sending out the algae collector, like a little robot from time to time, or to draw that algae back in and store it so we can make a biofuel out of it. This here wouldn't cost very much money, the tubing, and of course the solar panel to run everything, to run the vacuum and to run the pumps and the gates would not cost any money. Now, I also did a hypothesis in college. It was in my environmental law class, and we were told to answer the question of what Purdue University professors could not answer, which was, and I did answer it, and I did my research, and it proved to me that my reply was sound in my educated guess, because my hypothesis, because they wondered why the sun is burning, the radical atoms are dying in the sun faster in one season than in another. And I'm going to come back on video and tell you all my hypothesis. Okay? Thank you so much for taking an interest in listening. This is my design on what is called the Marine Bio Diverter algae collector box. Okay, pump station, solar, dam, step down dam, vacuum plexiglass tubing for the riverbanks, so that we can turn that algae into biofuel and separate the fish for about a block or a small portion into a waterway, whatever waterway. Like we had waterways near the sheet and tube in Youngstown, Ohio, that were completely, the waterway is just dark now, it's the river. We can turn that black-blue, but what we have to do is separate the pollution from the marine life. Okay, so turn that pollution into fuel. Pollution produces gases. How that's done, I don't exactly know. Okay, but so that's my idea for President Trump, so that we can concentrate on more peaceful things, all of us, and maybe work together to preserve the planet more while educating children with their little waterway zoo here, and clean up everything and then use what we can use for fuel, the algae. Okay? Have a good day, everybody. I'm going to do a better version. Excuse my sloppy version. I just want to get it done quickly. Okay?